MG-PickerStudio is very extendable. You can basically using its API and to create the picker file from scratch using just mail or Python code. And to refer to the API document, you just go to the help and help for the programmer, and it will pop up this manual for you, so you can just scroll down. And these three commands are the main command that provided in API. MG-Picker command here is a program level or document level command. You can use it to query or edit the state of the program. Also, you can use it to create a picker document or query the state of the document. Okay. For MG-Picker item is used for create or query or edit some state of the MG-Picker item, including the select button, attribute button, slider, text, or picker panel, any picker button type in MG-PickerStudio. An MG-Picker link dealing with the creation or editing of the links. So basically in MG-PickerStudio there are two types of links. One is parent link that connect the select button together, and one is the attribute link that enable an attribute button to control other picker buttons with abilities. Okay, so the three main command is here. You can just click in to visit the detailed document. So there are introductions for each flag of the command. It's pretty detailed, and like the Maya's own mail or the Python document, it's pretty easy to read. And if you grab this Python code here, Ctrl C and go to Maya, go to the script editor and paste these commands and execute them, it will create the whole brand new picker file in this report area, and all these picker buttons, including this picker panel and links, are created by Python codes here. As I mentioned before, you can use API to write some code. Animator can use this code to install as a shelf button, and use that shelf button, they can quickly set up the picker project and set up the searching directory, so that Animator can just auto-load the picker files in your server. Okay, basically what it does is just set up current picker project for Animator, and for current picker project we add this G drive and pickers folder into this searching path and move it to the top, and you have to use the program way to do this so that Animator are ready to auto-load pickers from the server. Okay, we just delete this, and let's do that in programming way. So basically what you need to do is to refer to the MG-Picker command document and say you search the project. Okay, and first you need to do is to set up the current picker project for Animator. So you just go to the MG-Picker command and picker project. By default you can use the edit flag, and for the project name called Dragon. Okay, if this project haven't exist in user's local disk, then it will create them. Okay, we can just execute it, and for now set current project, and there's a Dragon picker project here, and it's already been current picker project. Okay, so this is sets the current picker project will create it if it doesn't exist. Okay, so this one just do this function. The next thing, we want to edit the searching path, so we just go to this MG-Picker command and search for the path. Okay, so there's a add search path here, and there's also delete search path, and these two flags are related to the searching path. So we just add the search path, copy this flag, and the argument for that is a string and an int. The string stands for the actual path, and the int stands for the searching priority index. Okay, so if you specify a priority of -1, and it will append this search path to the last, and that will be the not searched for this path. And if you assign a 0 to that, and it will be the first one to be searched. So what we want is the 0 value for this int argument. So we just grab this MG-Picker, use the edit flag again, and we just say G. Let's check out the path. G and pickers folder here, and we assign a 0 so that this path will be searched first. Okay, we just execute this one, and we go to the preference. See this, it already has a G drive pickers folder prepared to this searching path, and this path will be searched first. Okay, so use this. So with these two lines of simple codes, you can set up the environment for animator. So animator just execute this code, and they are ready to auto-load the picker from this path, right? One thing I want to mention right now is right now we have the MG-PickerStudio already be loaded here, and if animator doesn't load MG-PickerStudio yet, this code will end in error since it can't find any MG-PickerStudio program instance, and there's only one instance be allowed to for this MG-PickerStudio. You can open up two MG-PickerStudio program window here. So to ensure that animator load the MG-PickerStudio program first, we can just grab this code for booting the animator mode here, and we use this code and provide them to animator. So say they can install them as the shelf button, and once he click, it will load MG-PickerStudio and set up the environment so that animator can be ready to use the pickers from the server. Okay. For creating a picker button here, you have to use the MG-PickerItem command, and you can use the same command to query or edit its state. Say I want to edit its state, so we just go to the MG-PickerItem document and we search for the color, and there's a lot of color attribute available to be edit. Okay, so let's go to the fill color and grab this, and there are 4 arguments for that: RGB and opacity. Okay, and we just MG-PickerItem fill color and 0 1 1. Say I want to 1 0 0, and the opacity should be 1. And you have to attach item ID for editing or querying a picker item. So we just copy this ID and go to this. There's an error for that. So because we forgot to use the edit flag, okay, we just execute this command and the button goes to red. So anytime you want to edit or query a state of the picker button, you have to give it an ID. So this raises another issues, because say I want to copy this button to this picker, and you can find that for this button its ID is select button 2, but for this button we paste here it's select button 136. Okay, the ID is totally different. So if I write some code here, and I just copy this code and go to the command button from clipboard. Okay, so this command button will works if I put it in this picker file. Okay, I just use this, click, and it goes to red. But if you copy this to this, it won't work, since it will pick up the wrong select item, because the ID we paste here is changed. To avoid that, you have to avoid hard coding the ID. So how to do that? Using this MG-Picker command, and we have a special flag. So let's go to the MG-Picker command. You search ID. There's a get ID from name flag. Okay, so we just query get ID from name. And the next thing I want to do is to assign a name to this button. Say this is a button, and say if I go to this command button codes, if I paste this, I will get the ID first equals to, and the name for that is button. Be aware of this name is case sensitive, so we check out the button, and this should be the. And chances are there's a lot of picker button that has a name with button, so the return should be a string array. So we just test if size ID, say the first item is not empty, then we can just edit this item. Okay, so that way we save it. So we just copy these two buttons and paste it here, and we just say change this button to other color, and if you use this command button, it will find that. So we can test it out first and execute. There's a syntax error here, so that's because we have the one sign that be left. Okay, we save it and we just copy this to this picker to test out, and we go to the preview tool and we click this button, and this button also go to red. So no matter its ID is totally different with this ID, we can still edit this button. Another tips regarding of avoiding the hardcode ID is that if you program in this script attribute in this picker button, you can use a command to query the button itself, I mean the ID of the button itself. So how to do that? You can just use the string self ID equals to MG-Picker query, and let's go to the document, current, searching for current, and there's a current item flag here, so we just copied it and paste it, and say I want to edit the label of this command button. We just MG-Picker item and edit, and label is the demo, and which ID is the self ID. It won't edit itself. Okay, so if I click on this command button, it will edit its label to demo, right? So you can use this code to query the ID of current picker button, no matter it's command button or the attribute button. If you write codes inside this pre-change or post-change attribute, or its slider, if you code in this change command, you can query the ID of this current picker button. Okay. To conclude that, if you write codes in this picker button, some script attribute, if you want to edit the state of other picker button, you use this get ID for name. If you want to edit the state of the current picker button, you just use this current item flag. Okay. And you can use API to help animator to jump between these different picker panels. So basically you can just grab this picker panel and design a menu for this picker panel, and we use the marking menu, and we say here I use go to facial, and here I use go to body, and we still got visibility panel, so we just go to this panel. And for this three menu item, we use the command for we use the MG-Picker and edit. You always need to use the edit flag for MG-Picker command, and we just search through the MG-Picker command, and for this we are using the panels keyword. So there's active panel index, that's what we need, active panel index. So active panel index. So the argument for this is just a single int that stands for the panel index of that picker panel. Okay, so we can see that the index for body is 0, and for facial is 1, and for visibility panel is 2. So this is a go to facial, so we end up with 1. Okay, so we just copy this code, and for body it's the 0, and for the visibility panel it's 2. So we already make a right-click marking menu for this panel, so we'll just right-click on this area or this title area. You just drag and release to the right and go to the facial panel. And for this panel, we haven't designed any picker menu yet, so just switch back to the designer mode and use this copy paste property tool and copy its menu and paste here and paste here as well. So in this way we can switch back to the animator mode. We can just anytime we can just right clicking on this empty area of picker panel and just go to the facial, go to the body, and go to the visibility panel and go back to the body panel. Okay, so this is pretty handy. You don't actually really need to code all this because it already contained in this report go to panel snippet. So you can just basically, this is a mail procedure that wrap this command. Okay, so you can just use this code, and that way you can just write down the code that jump between different picker panel. Okay. And you can use the MG-PickerStudio to load the MG-Picker file. Furthermore, you can also use the converter to let MG-PickerStudio open up other picker files such as ABX-Picker and Nick-Picker, and you can write your own converter to convert your own picker file into MG-PickerStudio file. Okay, so how to do that? Basically, here we got the bonding rig, and for bonding rig there's an ABX-Picker node already be created. And let's go to the load all in sync picker node, and it will load up that ABX-Picker, and with the converter that already be there, it will convert the ABX-Picker to this MG-Picker file and display it in MG-PickerStudio. So in this way, you can utilize the benefits of this program. You can just frame select them, or you can just zoom in and out. These all depends on the converter. So how can you write a converter? You just go to the designer mode using the hotkey F8 and go to the picker menu and browse MG-PickerStudio directory. So this will open up the MG-PickerStudio program directory. So we go to the MG-Picker program folder and we check out the converter. So there's already two files here which serve as a converter for ABX-Picker and Nick-Picker. If you want to write your own converter, you just refer to these example converters. There are very detailed help on this code as commands. Okay, so just refer this API, so which procedure you need to implement, and how the this converter file be named. Okay, basically what it does is just read the original picker data using mail or Python. Say you get the position and the size of each picker button, and you use the API provided by MG-PickerStudio to create the picker file, and we use this information we have already get, and we just create the each picker button upon these infos. So that way you build up a new picker file based on the original picker format. Okay, so it's pretty simple. You just get the data from the old format and rebuild them using the API for this new picker file. So say you have already write up your own converters, so you can place it to picker program and go up, and there's MG-Picker user config, and there's a converters folder here, so you can put your own converter here. And once in your scene there's a picker node that can be converted by this converter, and MG-PickerStudio can automatically convert them into MG-PickerStudio. That's pretty much all for the programming guide. As I mentioned before, you can refer to this document to know how these commands work. And there's also other commands, but mainly they are for internal use. If you find it useful, you can just use it, no problem.